Happy Sunday, happy Sunday. It's been kind of a long day already today, although I got up late. I got up at like 1. I love to sleep in. And I'm not even gonna lie about it. And then we went to brunch at Cafe Patachou, and I need to start like vlogging all this stuff. But like, I know that like, Alex, like he is tolerant of being in the videos and he enjoys it sometimes, but doesn't like want to be in it all the time. Like this is like, he's like, this is your thing, babe, but I don't want to do it all the time. So like, I don't always like to be pushy and ask him. In fact, like I did my RuPaul's Drag Race review today and I was like, do you want to be in it, babe? And he's like, no, not really. I'll just lay here. You can do it. So he like was on the couch while I was doing the RuPaul's Drag Race. And that's fine, you know, like, it's totally cool. So I didn't want to like whip out the camera on the way to brunch, you know, like be like, hey, will you be in my vlog? Because he doesn't need to be. So, but we had a really nice brunch. And then he was so sweet afterwards. He was like, I know you love to go to the bookstore. Do you want to go to the bookstore? He does not like going to the bookstore. And I was like, and I kind of like didn't really, I mean, I didn't. And I almost was just going to go because he never asked. And I thought, oh, that'd be kind of cute. And, I was like, you know what? I'm not really in the mood to go to the bookstore today. Like, I'm trying to save my money. And so he was like, all right. So now I feel like going to the bookstore. I went home and I like filmed the videos. And then it's so sunny outside today and it's 72. It's beautiful. I wanted to go to, I cleaned off our front porch. And I cleaned off our front porch. And that's where I read outside, because all next weekend I think I'm going to do like a catch-up readathon. So like there's all these things. I was going to talk about this in a vlog the other night and I didn't talk about it. Like on BookTube we do readathons, which is like, I think I did actually talk about this, where it's like a weekend or 7 days or whatever, and then you read like all these books and there's like these challenges. But like I need to catch up on like so many books, so I think I'm going to do like a catch-up readathon. Like, what's that called? Like when a pickup basketball game, like when you just like walk in and there's like a basketball game, you just like pick up. So I'm gonna do like a pickup catch-up readathon, and it's just gonna be next weekend. I think I'm gonna like do it, maybe I'll just start it tomorrow and do it for like a whole week, or like catch up on all of the books that I need to be caught up on. And like anybody else that wants to do it with me can do it with me. And there's no like, no, you know, any of the books that you're like halfway finished or did not finish that you want to put on there can do, like anybody. And you could even do it with me if you wanted to. So read 1 book, read 20 books, read 20 pages, read 20 sentences. It doesn't matter, but I want to get caught up on all of my books, because spring and summer is like, in early fall is when I love to read outside. I love, love, love to read outside and like make a picture of lemonade. I'm gonna get some lemonade. I'm going to Kroger right now. Oh my Lord in heaven, Kroger's packed. Kroger's a grocery store if you don't have a Kroger. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get some lemonade, because I want to make some lemonade, like Crystal Light. I have like this front porch swing, and I honestly it's like a glider really, and I want to get rid of it. And I just want a chair and an ottoman out there. Like I don't want like this swing anymore. Oh my God, I got princess parking right here in front. Alex just texted me and he said, I'll read you what he said. It's so cute. He was taking a nap when I left. He must have woken up for this. He said, while at Kroger, if you happen to go in, would you get me some golden double stuffed Oreos, like the ones I like? Wink face. I said, yeah, sure, babe. He said, thanks, babe. So I'm gonna get those. And then I will be back in un momento. Hey, you guys. It's not as late as it usually is. I've been driving around listening to my audiobook tonight, which is so good. So I'm gonna make a video about this tomorrow, but I wanted to talk about it in an overall kind of scheme of things. And so if you watch a lot of my videos, you know, if you've watched me for a long time, you know Charles Gross and I used to be friends. And Charles Gross and I are no longer friends. And I'm gonna explain it in a video tomorrow. But so by the time you're watching this vlog, my video is probably up, and I'll probably call it something like Why Charles Gross and I Are Not Friends. And I don't really want to get into it on here because I want to do it in a video, and you know, it's interesting to me, like, I think in some degree, you hear me popping my ears, I want to talk about Friends, and you know, I think to some degree, like, YouTube is a microcosm of the real world, if that makes sense. Like, having been on YouTube, and you know what, and let me tell my truth for a second, as if I don't always. Maybe I am too old for YouTube, you know? I mentioned Camden Kilby yesterday, and I'm gonna link his channel again tonight, and I'm gonna ask you guys if you'll go follow him. Because I'm tired of talking about YouTubers that really are careless with their words and their actions. And if I had a son, I think I would like him to be like Camden Kilby. Is it just, you know, I have like several younger booktuber guys that are just, they're so like just really neat people. And I actually have met some really genuinely nice people that have been protective of me through YouTube. And I talk about them on here, and you know, the girls at Bitchin' and Eatin' are just, you know, amazing. And there's a lot of people that I've met, you know, but really, I think honestly, it's you guys that I've met that are so loyal, and you know, that I joke about the wolf pack and things like that. I can feel myself getting real emotional, you guys, so if you're doing your makeup, you might want to stop now. Oh, there's a fox. Sly fox. I've been hurt a lot by people in my life, and I'm tired of it, you know? Do you ever get just tired of being hurt by people? People saying things about you that you know aren't true. And people being careless with your heart, careless with your friendship. I just wake up every day and try to be the best person that I possibly can be, you know? I had a friend years ago that I was friends with her for like 10 years, and just one day out of the blue, she stopped talking to me. Just stopped talking to me. And at that point, I was smoking cigarettes pretty heavily, and it was she and Tanya and I. We were the three of us were really good friends, and I to this moment don't think she has any idea really how much she impacted me with this, but I just didn't matter anymore, you know? And she wouldn't return texts, she wouldn't return calls. And she would say things like, you know, no answer, I got no answer. And she would say, you know, like to other people, like, we're just not friends anymore, you know? We're just not friends. I don't care, we're just not friends anymore. And I love her dearly. We're civil to each other today, you know, but it will never be like what it was before. we used to do this exercise with the kids when I worked in treatment. My supervisor did this exercise when kids would be like mean to each other, call each other names, and she would take a block of wood and she would have like one of the girls, you know, take a hammer and a nail, and she would, I've talked about this on here before, but she would say, you know, like, I want you to hammer the nail in, and with every time that, you know, like if it was two girls that were fighting, she would hammer the nail in. Every time she would say, bitch, whore, you know, slut. And then she would take the nail out and she would say, now fill the hole. And the girl would say, well, I mean, I can't fill the hole. And she'd say, well, why not? And she'd say, I mean, it's a hole, you can't fill it up. And she'd say, you can't fill it up at all? And she'd say, well, I could put some, you know, sawdust in it, or I could put glue in it, or I could, you know, whatever, tape it over, but... And then my supervisor would say, but it will never be exactly what it was before, right? And she was like, right. And she's like, that's what you do when you call people names. That's what you do when you're careless with other people's lives. And, I've opened myself up to that a lot in life, you know, like being hurt by other people. And for a long time I just thought, well, maybe this is part of my journey that I have to learn by people, you know. And with that friend, like, we even, like, years later, she doesn't live here anymore, but she came back to visit, and what I was saying was I was smoking a lot of cigarettes at that time, and when it happened, I would, like, sit on the front porch, and I would just, after work, like, I just was devastated, you know, and, like, and Tanya didn't know what to say. Like, she would try to have a conversation with her, and she wouldn't have it, so Tanya didn't have answers for me, you know, and she did stick up for me, and she did say, you know, like, what you're doing to Peter it's heartless. You give him an answer at least. Tell him what he did. Let him fix it, you know? Let him be a better person. Let him be a better friend. Why don't we give people opportunities to be better friends? Just dismiss them from your life. I think that it's the hardest thing ever. It's like a breakup. It's like, you know, that person's continued to go on with their life, but you're no longer a part of it, and you don't really understand why. And they're over here having their life, and you're absent from it, and you're like, what did I do? And I would come home every day after work, and I would sit on the front porch, and I would just smoke one cigarette after another. And Alex finally came out there one day, and he said, I can't do this anymore. He does not like this girl at all. Like, because he's so protective of my heart. He's like, she hurt you so deep, Peter. You know, it's like, I just would sit out there, and I just was like, just look. And, you know, I was so hurt. It was like a death, you know? It was like, it truly was like, I think sometimes maybe that grief is worse than grieving somebody that is no longer with us, because you know they're not coming back. But like with a breakup or a friendship, it's like they're gone and they're like out there still having a life, you know, but you're not part of that anymore. And like I said, I love her, you know, she's very unaware of how much she affected me, you know. She even texted me the other night. She never texts me. She texted me the other night. I haven't heard from her in probably a year. And I just acted like nothing had happened. I said, oh yeah, we were talking about a TV show, you know. And we sat outside at Tanya's when she came to visit, and we talked about it, and there just was no awareness of like how much she had really affected me. And she's like, I don't really want to have this conversation. I feel like we don't need to have it. I feel like we've just moved past it. No, you've moved past it. I never was given the opportunity to move past it. I just had to accept what you handed to me. And I feel like that's been the way with a lot of friends that I've had, you know, like, here, just, this is what it is. Just accept it how it is, you know? And I'm tired of losing people. It makes me almost not want to be open to people anymore in life. It makes me almost not want to meet new people, because if I meet new people, will they just do the same thing? Will they get tired of me, or am I too much? Do I push too hard? Do I ask for too much in a friendship? Am I annoying? The hardest thing for me with my mother's death was like not really recognizing what unconditional love was until she was gone. You know, my mom was the kind of mom that, like, let's just say I had committed some horrific crime. care what the crime was, but she would still, she would have come and visited me in prison. She would have been proud of me. I've never shared this on here, but there's quite a few things I've done in my life that I'm not really proud of in and out of sobriety. And this is like a real moment, like a really real moment for me. And I was in Vegas and I got a call from my dad the night before I was coming back, and he said, you're gonna have to make some serious decisions. My mom was on life support at the time. And I said, okay. And I know people are so tired of hearing me talk about my mom, but I'm gonna tell this story because I think the story is important. And I said, okay. And he said, you know, it's up to you. He said, it's not really Aunt Kathy's decision. It's not really my decision. It's up to you. And I said, okay, I'm prepared to do that, I think. When I came back, and we had 7 doctors that just were not communicating, not telling us anything. My mother had been in a coma for 2 months. We had no clue what was going on. I'll never forget this. And my aunt had called this meeting, and I got back on a Sunday. We had this meeting on a Monday, and was all the doctors in there, and they're like, well, I think this and I think that. And my aunt had these huge black sunglasses on. My Aunt Kathy, so stylish. I mean, so stylish. And she had these huge black sunglasses on that she was wearing in this meeting. And I looked over at her, and she had this tear just running down her eyes. And she just was so still, you know. She was so protective of my mom always. And she took her sunglasses off and she threw them across the table, and she said, my sister is dying in there, and none of you know what to do. I want some answers now. And they just all started talking. They just all were like very nervous all of a sudden. If you are in the hospital, if your family member is in the hospital, demand answers. Demand them. Oh, she's never going to be off a feeding tube, and she'll never, you know, she'll always be on oxygen. She'll probably never walk again because she's been on dialysis. She'll never see again because she's been on dialysis. And they're all just like, da, 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 da. My aunt turned to me and she said, Peter, don't do this to her. Please don't do this to her. She said, this is no life. This is not how she wants to live. Don't do this to her. Let her go. And I said, okay, Aunt Kathy, I'll let her go. And so we had to like decide a night that we would take her off life support. I did my vlog last night, and I got off from doing the vlog, and it was like so weird. Like I was thinking about my mom. And I don't know, maybe this is what counseling has done. It's just like opened all this shit for me. I don't know, but like I thought I was so okay with it, you know, that I had moved on. It's been 9 years. In 2 weeks, it will have been 9 years. And I realized I just really miss my mom. And I just, like, for the first time realized I'll never see her again. Like, I really, really realized it, you know? And so we decided like we were gonna do it like on that Thursday night. And my aunt was gonna like, my mom loved show tunes and she loved Gregorian chants, like monks, you know, chants. And there were several people that wanted to be in the hospital room with my mom. And so my aunt was gonna play like her favorite show tunes, like Singing in the Rain and stuff like that. Because they used to like, you know, do the dun 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 dun. They would like play out in the rain with when they were little kids. But that Wednesday night, I got a call at like 10 o'clock from the nurse's station, and they said, your mom is like flatlining. She's not doing well. Like her heart rate is going down. And I said, oh, okay, I don't know what you want me to do. Can you resuscitate her? And they said, we can, but Peter, I need to be honest with you, it's not like, thank God for nurses, you know, like, my dad is a doctor and I love my dad, but like, my dad has amazing bedside manner. I have been told that by so many people that have worked, worked with him, but like most doctors do not. But thank God for some nurses out there, because I mean, these nurses just really know how to talk to people. They just really do. And the nurse was so kind, and she said, Peter, she said, when we resuscitate people, it's not like it looks on TV, and a lot of times like it crushes their chest, and it's just very damaging to the human body. And I said, okay. And I said, I had like just gotten home. It was late. I don't know. I think I went out to dinner with somebody, and I said, can I come in there and, like just be with her for a little bit and say some things to her? And the nurse was like, yeah. I said, I know visiting hours are over. And she said, oh, no. Sweetie, you come in here whenever you want. She's like, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. We don't care. And, I went in there and I sat next to my mom. And they had moved her room. I remember. I don't know why I thought that was so strange, but they had moved her room. I think because they needed like a room, for somebody else that was, because we knew what was happening, And I sat down next to her and I told her the things I wasn't proud of that I had done in my life. And because I wanted her to know that I wasn't that person today, and that she had raised an okay son. My mother was always my biggest fan, no matter what I did. She was not always happy with me, not always happy with the language that I used. She hated that I cussed. She'd say the one thing that 12-step program has done for you is that it makes you cuss like a sailor. But she was always my biggest fan, I had no idea I was going to talk about this when I turned on this camera, and I swear I never know what I'm talking about when I get on here. And I told her all the memories that were so good. And I said goodbye. I just sat there with her. I still can't believe she's gone. She's not supposed to be gone. She was 64 years old. It's so weird. So weird. I feel like in some ways, like I've been like emotionally waking up over the last 9 years, if that makes any kind of sense, I was in this really bad relationship that the last 3 years just were not good. They were just really unhealthy. And I tried so hard to make that relationship work. My mom loved him so much, And I remember we had broken up December 7th. And my mom tried so hard to get in touch with him. She wanted to see his new apartment. And I remember she told me, she said, I talked to him on the phone, and I said, we love you, like you're part of our family. And he said, I know. He said, but it's just different now. And she said, I got you a Christmas present. I want to bring it to you, and I want to see your new apartment. And then I had this Christmas present for him, and I called him the next day, and I said, you need to come and say goodbye to my mom. And he said, I don't want to come. He said, I don't want to see your dad and your mom and Caroline and all those people. I can't, Peter, don't put me through that. I can't do that. And I said, please do this, not for me, do it for her. She loves you so much. And he said, okay, I will do it for her, but can you make sure that nobody else is there? So I cleared everybody out, and he came in, and I gave him the Christmas present, which was like the shirt. And I said, Sean, my mom loved you so much. This vlog is so cathartic for me. If I ended my YouTube career tomorrow and I never made another video, the last 110 days of sharing things with you guys online has been so good for me. It's been so good for me to be able just like to talk, you know? Like I have Tanya and I have Alex, but like you can only say so much to your friends, you know? Like at some point your partner, they just kind of like, okay, babe, we love you, but we've heard this, you know, 100 times. And then like when she was gone, you know, my mom always felt like she was so alone, and I remember I stood up in the church when I did her eulogy. I did a eulogy, and I'm kind of known for eulogies now. I get asked to do eulogies all the time. I don't know why. But I stood up there, and it was like standing room only on both floors of the church, and my mom thought she had no friends. And I said, this would have made my mom so happy because she never knew this many people loved her. How do we let people go through life and not let them know how much we love them, how much they mean to us, you know? People mean things to me. I don't have friendships that don't mean things to me. And when they're over, because I am a believer that friendships are a season, a reason, or a lifetime, you know, I look back with fondness. I don't look back and say, it doesn't mean anything to me. You know, it didn't mean anything to me. It meant something to me. You were a part of my life. An hour, a half an hour, 20 minutes of a day, you know? You were part of my life. How could I mean so little to somebody? We should all mean something to somebody. And you know, like, I talk on here a lot about like it's quantity friends to me, not quality friends, because, it's quality, not quantity friends, because the friends I have in my life today would drop anything to be there for me, you know? Melissa just calls me on a regular basis, just, hey, I just want to check in, see if you're doing okay. I know you were having a down day, and Tanya does the same thing. Or, you know, Tanya will say, hey, we need to go laugh. We need to go and just have a funny night, you know? Or Tanya's all about wanting to, you know, have new memories, you know? Like, we're real big into that right now. And we should all have somebody, I think. And not have to trust whether or not, if that friendship was over, whether their response would just be, well, didn't really mean anything to me. Well, it meant something to me. You know? And I'm proud of that. Because that means I'm a feeling person. I'm a human being. But it doesn't take away from the fact that I'm tired of people feeling like it's okay to walk all over me. Although, I did have a friend back in the day that used to always say to me, you have to lay down and get walked over. So maybe the lesson in that is that I need to stop laying down for people, you know? But then what? You become a bitch? I don't want to be that, you know? I don't know why I got so emotional tonight talking about that. I've told that story about my mom 1,000 times. Probably on here. You guys are probably like, yes, we've heard that story before. I know so many people that don't have good relationships with their parents, and it makes me so sad. I feel so blessed to have the relationship with my parents that I have, you know? They're just such wonderful, accepting, unconditionally loving people, and I try to pass that on to other people, you know, and be that for other people, and be that friend. And when somebody says to me that they don't want to be my friend anymore, I say, okay, I respect that, you know? I won't force that upon you. thank you for being part of my life. It meant a lot to me. So, all right, you guys, I'm going to end this sob story now, and I will be back tomorrow. I love you guys. Sorry, I hope I'm not like messing up your makeup. But I'll talk to you later. Bye.